All right, Gun Talk Hunters, you're going to want to hold on for this one. This is the first of a two-part series where I go over everything I'm taking to Kodiak on a blacktail hunt. Stay tuned. It's coming up right now. All right, we're here, and this is part one of a two-part series, and I'll be honest with you, if you're listening to this over the airwaves, I will give as good of a description as possible because this one is highly visual. I'm standing behind the desk amongst a mountain of gear, stuff that I will be taking with me to Kodiak, and I'll kind of walk through a little bit on how the hunt came up and the gear that I'm taking. In this part one series, I'm basically covering what's in my pack. We are taking a transporter, so some of that gear can stay on the boat. So everything that you see laid out before you, it won't necessarily go, it won't, I can leave it on the boat, basically. And we'll get into all that. But this episode is brought to you by SIG. They make everything. No, really, they really do. So, but no, let's just jump in how the hunt came about. I've wanted to do this hunt for quite a while. I've fallen in love with Alaska and everything it has to offer. There's so much game up there, and I've just been enthralled with it. Just putting it together with a couple buddies, and all of a sudden it became an event. And it is going to be a big event. We've got Adam Hagenstaller, he's with the Outdoor Sportsman's Group. Michael Shea, he's with Black Rifle Coffee Company. And then we've got a couple of camera dudes going. But special shout out to Murray Road Agency. They've really helped out with this. If you don't know them, they've got great clients out there, such as like Silencer Central, they do work for, Savage Arms, Remington Ammunition. So in part two, after this part one, you're going to hear more about clothing and, the gear that goes bang. So we're going to go over optics and firearms and ammo after this one, but let's jump right into it. Let's just start off. I've got a whole laundry list, and if you're wondering, I will put this list in the description with links to where you can go check it out. A lot of it's pretty handy, but so the whole basis around this hunt, it's a transporter hunt. So what that means is we fly in, we get into Alaska, we get into Kodiak, a boat picks us up. They are not allowed to guide. That's a big distinction. There's a big distinction between guide and transporter. Guide can say, hey, look at that black-tailed deer over there. A transporter can drive a boat. So a lot of the hunt is up to me. So every night will be spent on the boat. The transporter, who is Alaska Ocean Pros, that's who we're going with. Gabe and his crew over there do a fantastic job. But that's who we're going with. And he basically said, hey, man, get up to Kodiak, get in. We are going. So for all you guys going to be up there around the 1st of October, that's when this is probably going to air. We will be there. We will be on a boat, and we will be heading to Kodiak Island. I think we're hunting on the south side. So if you are up there, just, hey, give us a shout. Would love to hang out, maybe go grab a beer or something at a local brewery after the hunt's done. So that's what the hunt is. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of the gear, all the gear is really provided by us. So anything that we take there, and I kind of have an idea of what we're going to do, but I've kind of got everything laid out here, and it all kind of starts with the pack and how you go in, because what the transporter does is you basically say, hey, we want to start here, because they can't tell you. They can get you into an area where they're fairly familiar with, and they just kind of put you on the beach and say, well, best of luck, guys. I'm expecting heavy brush for the initial hike in, and then it's, up and down. So, just locating, saddles and, hillsides and stuff like that. We'll be glassing heavily on this trip. But behind me on the wall is the pack that I will carry. It's a Kafaru International 44 mag bag. So I took it with me on a Colorado elk hunt last year into the backcountry. I've lived out of that thing for like 7 to 10 days is what you can get out of it. Now, I'm not going to be carrying copious amounts of equipment in there with me. So we're not going to have that issue going on, but most of this stuff will go in with me, and there's a purpose behind it, and I'll kind of give you the rundown. But it is an internal, they have it on their duplex light frame on the bag. It's a very robust bag, but I fully expect to pack some meat out. We have 2 tags for Blacktail. You can get up to 3. They're $300 a piece, $160 license. And then I went ahead and said, you know what, there's reindeer or caribou on the island. So I tacked on one of those, and it's going to be about like $600 for that. So those are your prices, and they're all done easily online. But that's a pack that everything's going to be housed in. Some of this stuff I am not 100% sure that I want to take with me every day. But a lot of it is going to be needed. Let's start with the bino system that I'll be running. I'm running a T&K hunting gear. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Gen 2 bino harness with a rangefinder piggybacker. We're using some Burris optics for those, and I'll go over them on the next one. But I've got instead of having like a bear spray, or I will have a firearm around my person for bear protection, but I like to have a piggybacker, and it's a Philo Blade Works. They recently changed their name to Outlier Knife Company, but they make a fantastic fixed blade, and this is kind of a special addition to my pack. But that's the bino harness I'm running, that's the range pouch I'm running, and that's the knife, the fixed blade that I'll be running with me. Let's just jump into medical, because I think that's important on every hunt that you take, whether it's, just in a stand or anything else. I've got a little Blue Force Gear micro trauma kit with I guess it's kind of a piggybacker tourniquet. I'll probably carry 2 cat tourniquets with me. Again, it's a nice little compact size that I can actually attach to the outer shell of the bag that I'm carrying, so it's accessible to everyone. So if something happens to me, a cameraman or someone else can easily access that and have immediate aid rendered right there. The next thing I've got, this is an old bag that I've had this bag for, I don't know, going on like a decade or something like that. But it's just a sportsman's first aid kit. You can pick them up at like a Bass Pro or an Academy or something like that. But I included a few extra things in this, which is the Zyrtex, the BC powder, little stuff like that, little aspirin, anything that I might need. I also have like bandages. It's kind of just a boo-boo kit. This is nothing like fully extensive like a trauma kit or anything like that. I also have these, and let me pull it up here. That's pretty interesting. Synovec, they're zip stitch closure. So if I get a deep cut or something, I could stitch it up there in the field and close off that wound from getting any extra bacteria in that. So that's something that I would recommend. And on Amazon, they were like $15 or something like that. So that a very inexpensive but useful tool to have out in the field, or just lying around the house, honestly. And that medical kit also includes a chest seal as well, and that's a North American Rescue deal that I've got. And it's got all my alcohol swabs and everything else in there. But when it comes to medical, and I know you guys are looking at this going, man, that's a lot of extra weight to be carrying. It's 2 little kits there's not. I would rather trade everything I have for that little trauma kit than having nothing and needing it immediately. So it doesn't cost anything a lot extra as far as weight's concerned to go ahead and include that. I'm going to jump in here real quick from a word from our sponsors. But, you know, anytime you're out in the backcountry or anything like that, you always got to look at who you use for optics. And if you're night hunting, you know we've talked about ATN a ton. Whether you're in the night vision game or looking to go into thermal, I would highly recommend looking at ATN because they're not $7,000. I had a buddy just contact me this week that says, hey, I need some thermal. I just built a new 308. I want to shoot coyotes at night. Well, there's a fix for that because on the ATN website, atncorp.com, that's atncorp.com, they do refurbished models. So basically they have a program where you can take your existing optic, and if you're looking to upgrade, you'll send it in. They'll give you an amount of money. You know, I forget what the scale is, but they basically give you that money to put towards a new optic. And what they do is they refurb those, get them like they're like spanking brand new, and they get them back out. So that's where I directed him to go. So just check them out. And SIG Sauer. So I shot a long-range precision course about a month ago and really enjoyed it. And I shot it with a hunting rifle, and I was sitting there dreaming of having a production SIG Cross PRS model. They came out with this gun, and I tell you, it's got the lines of a SIG Cross, which I love mine, available in 6.5 Creedmoor. It's light kicking, so it's not going to bust you up all day on the range or all day on a PRS match. So if you want to learn more about the SIG Cross PRS model, visit sigsauer.com. All right, jumping back into it. A lot of people will ask, like, hey, well, what do you take in your kill kit, and what's in kill kit? I use that term kind of like loosely, like I'm guaranteeing myself for success. I would say it's more of a just in case I shoot something kit. I'm taking, so I have the fixed blade from Philo Blade Works. I always carry a little Havalon. This isn't, one of the larger models, but replaceable blades where I can work through an animal really quick with those. I usually, out of one blade, I can get through probably 2 or 3 critters fairly easy. And then a good buddy of mine bought me this knife, and I've been fairly impressed with it. But it's a Gerber, but it is the Randy Newberg Hunter model. And if he had any say in how this knife came out, kudos to him because it works fantastic. And Randy is one heck of a guy and one heck of a hunter, and he's put the works through some animals. So well done to him because it's a beefy little knife, but sturdy, and best of all, it is fluorescent orange. Because my gosh, if knife companies sell hunting knives and they are not fluorescent orange, they really should be fined by the Hunters of America organization or whoever that would be. But digging deeper here into the bag, I do have 2 construction garbage bags in here. And why do I do that? Why on earth would you do that? Well, a couple reasons. I actually picked this tip up from, it was either like Tyler Friel or maybe it was Aaron Snyder over at Kafaru, but a really good thought was carrying these contractor bags with you, and having them easily accessed. So once you get up to, your animal that you killed and you're ready to start deboning meat and getting meat out, you can lay them on top of the contractor bags and don't have to lay meat in the grass and stuff like that, which is fine. But what I would find more useful is putting your meat after, and I'm using some Kafaru game bags. So and they're very small. They're nice. These are the elk bags. It's one of four. They're labeled. But the game bags are super helpful. Stuff meat in, but line your bag like that Kifaru 44 mag. Line them with your contractor bags. Put the meat inside there so you're not getting blood and everything all over your pack. It was a great little tip that I heard somewhere. That's not coming from me. That's coming from someone else with a lot more knowledge, but it was just a smart way to do it. And it just makes sense to me to not, bloody up your bag and stuff like that, because I don't have access. I can rinse it off at night, but I don't have access to, dishwasher soap and like cleaning materials that I can throw that bag in. I just don't have it. But yeah, the Kifaru elk game bags will hold a lot of meat, which is awesome. Another thing, and I know that you can get like a rain bivy for your backpack off these websites like Kifaru or Kuyu or stuff like that. But honestly, it's got good reviews. I found it on Amazon, and it is just a simple rain bivy, and I think it cost me like $14. So that was super helpful in getting that lined up. My next, man, where do I want to go next? There's so much gear here. Okay, I've got a jet boil. Okay, so you say, well, you're eating on the boat, but I'm not for lunch. And if we want to stop and we're glassing or anything like that, and I want to just cook up a real quick hot meal, the little jet boil, I think, I forget which model this is. I probably have it on here at some point. Again, I'm sorry, but if you are listening to this, man, you're missing out, because I've got all this gear laid out. I'm kind of showing you how it works and what it's good for. But again, this is part 1 of 2 over Kodiak gear. But it's the little flash camping stove. It's a little jet boil. I've had a lot of success with it. I know there's smaller ones out there, like the little MSR. That's a really good one too. But I've had a lot of luck with this, and it's just nice. Okay. So that's the jet boil. That's medical. That's range pouch. Let's go sleep system. That's a great place to start, on this one. I'm using a Kifaru slick bag. It's like a 20-degree bag. If I need to layer up, like I'm out shooting it. So, 20-degree bag. If I need to layer up inside the bag, I can do that. But I've got it in a Kuyu bag, and this little bag is really super handy. It's bright orange. It's neon orange. It's their medium bag. I forget what it's called, but it's got reflectors on it and stuff like that. But what this bag really allows me to do is, what I'll probably do is I'll probably pare this bag down. So sleeping bag's going to be on the boat, so I'm going to just leave it there, right? But I'll take the bag with me, because what'll happen is that, let's say I shoot something and it's far off or something like that, and I've got to go back. What I'll do is I'll take that bag and I'll hang it in the spot where I shot from. So once I get to the animal, I can always have that bag, that bright orange bag, as a reference. And that just allows me to go, okay, I know I was in this direction, and there's the orange bag, and you can get pretty dang close. If you've done this a little bit, if you leave yourself a marker, or if I have to go somewhere really fast, hang that bag where you have to drop your pack, and now you have a reference call out saying, hey, my bag's here, because it's got reflective material on it, and it's bright frickin' orange. So easily done there. But that's the sleeping bag and the stuff sack that I've got it in. Okay. This is kind of a cool little system that I've refined over the past couple of years, and it's super handy to have out in the field, and it takes up and saves yourself some space. But this is another little Kuyu bag that is a bag rider for outside, like your pack, like, so your big 44 mag pack or something like that. This can ride outside your pack if you want it to. I'm probably going to just stuff it inside the bag because it doesn't take a lot of room. So I like comforts. I'm not going to lie. I do like to be comfortable in the field. And so what I've got, let me look. I want to give you guys the exact names of these things, but I've had them for a while. So, all right. So this is, yeah. So this is from Z-Packs. This is it's their little foam sit pad. I think it wasn't that much. You can get, I was ordering a bunch of stuff last year, and you can honestly get a yoga mat and kind of cut it, and it's like a quad fold little foam seat. So if you find yourself sitting on like a rocky outpost or anything like that, throw this down. You've got a little bit of comfort between your butt and the rocks. Next is a Z-Packs Hexamid tarp. I think it weighs like 4 to 6 ounces, something like that. But if we're out and it's raining on Kodiak, as it seems to do quite a bit, I'm able to throw this up very fast. And I can fit 2 people under here. It goes up 48 inches tall and lays out, and it's got the double doors. So this is really super handy to have on any hunt. And again, it's tiny. It's about the size of maybe a softball. But it's like a 2-person shelter. I've got the tent stakes here. They're all little bitty MSR ground hogs and some Z-Packs carbon fiber. So they're light as well. I've got 12 of them. I think that Hexamid has 8 ground stakes. This other one was another really good find on Amazon. It's basically a Tyvek ground cloth that I can stake in to the ground before I put that tarp up, and it'll give us somewhere dry to sit or set our gear. Because when you're taking camera gear has a tendency to want to be dry. So anything we can do to really limit the moisture in cameras is always a good thing. And that's really kind of it. That's it on that's really all for the shelter stuff that I've got. I do have some Luco tape in here. This is handy to have around. And if I haven't decided if I'm going to take trekking poles or not. But if I was going to take trekking poles, I would probably wrap quite a bit of this Luco tape around the legs, the top portion of the legs. That way I can just access it from there and I don't have to carry this big roll. But Luco tape, easy find on Amazon, not a big deal. All right. What else do I got up here? Okay. All right. This is a good possibles bag. And this, I think I have 4 or 5 of these little containers. And you can find them on Amazon. They're like $7 to $9. But basically they're a cord. I guess it's like your phone cords and everything. It keeps those organized. But I found a great use of it for organizing all my stuff that I don't want just rolling around in a backpack. I've got a Dark Energy Poseidon Pro charger here. I've got some dude wipes. I've got, looks like some paracord in here, and that's one side of it. Some fire, a fire flint. And then I've got a compass in here just in case, because I'm always getting lost. So whoever's going with me on this hunt, I'm sorry. I've got a little streamlight, flashlight, really super handy, rechargeable. And this light is 5 years old, and it's starting to, I think, near the end of its battery life. So I went ahead and got a Peaks light. And I heard this, if you go listen to Gritty podcast, like Brian Call, he talked a lot about this. And so I was like, well, might as well give it a shot. Rechargeable, huge light output. I mean, it is a massive light output. Actually, it's a dual bulb in there. So, so far, really nice light. But over there on Peaks website, I've got stuff for blisters in here. And for water treatment, I do have some little potable tablets or water purification tablets, and then some waterproof matches. And then I've got my little silverware, my gold spork. in there just in case. And that's the possibles bag. So really, as far as gear, that's everything that I'm taking. And it, when I have it laid out, it looks like a lot, but when it goes into the 44 mag, it's really not that much. And there are some things that will stay, you know, on the boat as being going on a transport hunt. But looking at everything here, I mean, aside from the sleeping bag, I would say all this stuff does not weigh nowhere close to 10 pounds, you know, because you got a rifle, you got some ammo you got to carry. So you don't want to be bogged down with too much weight. But that, yeah, that's it for the gear wise that I'm looking at taking on Kodiak. Next week, you're going to want to tune in because I'm talking clothing and things that go bang. So all you gun talk hunters, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointing in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.